Most men over 60 are training 3 days a week and losing muscle, the right number. Shocked me. How many days a week are you training right now? 3? 4? Maybe 5, because you are serious about results and believe more is always better? Here is the question nobody is asking alongside that number. Is that frequency actually building the muscle you think it is, or is it systematically preventing the very adaptation it is supposed to be producing? Because the answer the research gives for men over 60 is not what most trainers will tell you. And when I first encountered the specific number the science points to, along with the biological explanation for why it works, I genuinely had to check the study twice, because it contradicts almost everything conventional fitness advice says about training commitment. Number 1, the recovery window reality. Why your muscle needs more time than you are giving it. Here is the biological sequence that produces muscle growth, and understanding it precisely changes how you think about every day between your training sessions. When you train, you create controlled microscopic damage to muscle fiber architecture. This triggers satellite cell activation and a cascade of protein synthesis activity designed to repair and slightly reinforce the damaged tissue. The result, if recovery is complete before the next stimulus is applied, is muscle that is denser, stronger, and more capable. That phrase, if recovery is complete, is everything. After 60, the hormonal environment governing muscle repair operates more slowly than it did at 35. Growth hormone, IGF-1, and testosterone, the primary biological drivers of overnight repair, are present in lower concentrations and require more time to fully execute the repair cycle. Research from the Journal of Physiology found that muscle protein synthesis remained elevated for 48 to 72 hours post-training in men over 60, compared to 24 to 36 hours in younger men. Same biology, more time required. A man training the same muscle group every 48 hours is interrupting the repair cycle before it concludes, loading tissues still in active recovery. The result is not enhanced adaptation. It is impaired adaptation, elevated injury risk, and chronically elevated cortisol from accumulated training stress that never fully resolves. The muscle stops building and starts simply managing the continuous damage being applied to it. 3 sessions weekly for the whole body, or 4 sessions in an upper-lower split, with a minimum of 48 and ideally 72 hours between sessions targeting the same muscle group. Not because 3 days means limited commitment, because 3 days with complete recovery produces more muscle than 5 days without it. The research on this is consistent enough to constitute scientific consensus, and the next point reveals why the number of sessions is only half the equation. Number 2, the volume redistribution principle. It is not how often, but how much per session. Most men who reduce training frequency from 5 days to 3 make the same compensatory mistake immediately. They try to fit 5 days of work into 3 sessions. The result is sessions lasting 90 minutes to 2 hours, excessive fatigue accumulation, and a hormonal profile during the final third of those sessions that is more cortisol dominant than testosterone dominant. After approximately 60 to 75 minutes of resistance training, cortisol elevation begins to exceed the productive acute range, meaning the hormonal environment actively works against the anabolic response the session is supposed to produce. Research from the American Journal of Sports Medicine found that sessions of 45 to 60 minutes produce superior muscle protein synthesis responses in men over 60, compared to longer sessions of equivalent total volume, specifically because the hormonal profile remained more favorably anabolic throughout shorter sessions. The practical framework is precise: 4 to 6 working sets per major muscle group per session, 3 sessions weekly. Total weekly sets per muscle group between 12 and 18, distributed across sessions rather than concentrated within them. Monday, lower body dominant. Wednesday, upper body dominant. Friday, full body integration. Each session, 45 to 60 minutes of focused progressive work, not a minute more. The quality of focus and hormonal environment within those 60 minutes determines the result, not the total time spent inside the gym. The man training 60 focused, progressive, hormonally optimized minutes 3 times weekly will outperform the man training 2-hour sessions 5 days weekly over any meaningful training timeline. The third point is the concept most men understand intellectually, but emotionally resist, and it is the one that explains why some men build continuously while others plateau indefinitely. Number 3, the deload protocol, the planned recovery week that actually produces your best results. Every 4 to 6 weeks of progressive resistance training, accumulated training stress, the sum of controlled muscular damage, connective tissue loading, and neurological fatigue reaches a level where recovery systems can no longer fully clear it within the standard window between sessions. The body is no longer building optimally. It is managing damage while trying to produce adaptations with insufficient recovery resources. Training performance subtly plateaus, joint discomfort increases, sleep quality slightly deteriorates. These are not signs of weakness. They are precise biological signals of accumulated fatigue, and they require a deliberate, scheduled response. That response is a deload week, a planned 7-day period of reduced training volume and intensity, same 3 sessions, same movements, but 40 to 50% of normal load and volume. The nervous system clears, connective tissue fully repairs, growth hormone and testosterone restore from their stress-suppressed levels. And then, this is the part that makes the deload genuinely worth every session of reduced training. The week following it consistently produces the most dramatic strength and performance improvements of any week in the entire training cycle. The adaptation built during the preceding 4 to 6 weeks expresses fully when the fatigue finally clears. Men who program the deloads every 4 to 6 weeks build more muscle over a year than men training at maximum intensity without planned recovery. That is not opinion. That is documented physiology. The deload is not a break from progress. It is precisely where the progress happens. Now, before the final point, this is where the Silver Athlete Blueprint becomes directly relevant to everything just discussed. It contains the complete weekly training structure, precise progressions, exercise selections, deload scheduling, recovery protocols, V-taper technique, smart nutrition and proportions, and hormonal optimization, all built specifically for men 60, 70, and 80 plus. Not a generic fitness program, a system designed around the exact biology this video has been describing. Scan the code on screen right now, or check the description and pinned comment for the direct link. The final point takes everything built in this video and converts it into the daily off-day structure that multiplies your 3 training sessions into something far more powerful. Number 4, the active recovery advantage, what to do on off days that accelerates muscle growth. Rest days are not optimization opportunities being wasted. They are biological necessities that, when approached correctly, become secondary muscle-building events without the demand of a formal training session. The 4 days between training sessions are not empty days. They are where the work done in the gym is converted into actual tissue. Low-intensity movement on off days produces specific biological benefits that passive rest does not. Blood flow to recovering muscle tissue increases, delivering amino acids and oxygen directly to active repair sites. Lymphatic drainage of metabolic waste products from trained tissue improves. Inflammatory resolution accelerates, and the psychological momentum of daily physical activity, even at low intensity, sustains the behavioral consistency that makes long-term training results possible in the first place. The active recovery protocol is simple and takes under 40 minutes. 20 to 30 minutes of walking at a comfortable conversational pace, 10 minutes of mobility work targeting the muscle groups trained the previous day, hip flexor lengthening after lower body sessions, thoracic rotation and shoulder mobility after upper body sessions. 1 set of each primary movement from the previous session at 30 to 40% of training load, enough to increase blood flow to recovering tissue without creating any new damage. This structure, 3 hard training sessions and 4 active recovery days, is the weekly architecture that produces the most consistent, sustainable, injury-free muscle building in men over 60. Not more training, smarter distribution of effort and recovery across the full 7 days. The man who understands this stops measuring his commitment by how many days he trains and starts measuring it by how intelligently he manages the entire week. Final thoughts. 3 to 4 sessions weekly, 45 to 60 minutes per session, a deload every 4 to 6 weeks, active recovery on off days. This is the training structure the research consistently identifies as optimal for men over 60, and it stands in sharp contrast to the 5-day, 2-hour session approach fitness culture still promotes as the standard for serious commitment. The man who trains 3 focused, progressive, recovery-managed sessions weekly will build more muscle, sustain fewer injuries, maintain higher testosterone, and produce better visible results than the man training 5 days without adequate recovery. And he will sustain it for years longer before burnout or injury interrupts the progress that consistency alone produces. More is not better after 60. Better is better. The right frequency, the